Are you not entertained? Well, this is the chaotic version of Domain to Profit, where everything's rigged up and we just hope that the show actually works. So thank you for joining me. I am Drew Wash, and we are live from Navarre Beach. And Navarre Beach is in the panhandle of Florida, in the little part at the top. And here with my family, but it is Monday, 3 p.m., so I am here with you to look through domain names like this here, over here on expireddomains.net, which I have my laptops. I'm literally, so here's, check out my Twitter, you'll see everything is rigged up on a dresser. Got like literally underwear and socks and stuff in front of me, shoes down here, dirty clothes, like chaos. And I wouldn't have it any other way. This is just the one guy who loves domain names and knows how life-changing domain names can be. And I think it's so much that I do this show every Monday at 3 p.m. with you in the community that I see coming into the chat. So make sure you say hi. Let us know you're here. This is Domain to Profit. We're fingers crossed, hoping everything works the entire time. But we'll get things going. See you after this. Okay, Google has yes. It occurred to me, speaking of, let me put this up here real quick. Yeah, Navarre, like, it is actually, it's a very secluded little beach. Like, there's really only houses and things, and we're like in a rental house. And it's really small and private, but the beaches are amazing, and it's a great place to visit. So yeah, there's lots of great photos out there. And it made me think that, hey, you know what I need to start doing when I do these travel trips is like go and take some photos and then kind of show where I am a little bit. That requires planning and thought, and sometimes that is not my strong suit. But welcome everybody that's here. Here's why we're here. We are here for domain names, like what you see on the screen right here. The domain names, they expire every single week. That's why I have to be here with you, or while I get to be here with you, is the domain names expire every week, and the domains we're looking at will be new every single week. So I can't take a week off. So for 145 weeks now, I've been coming to you live to look through this week's domain names. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I already have the filter set up. And what does that mean? That means we have filtered down hundreds of thousands of domain names down to 101,000 domain names. That's a big number. We're not going to look through all. We're only going to look through about 200 of them. And I'm hoping the lights stay on here. Because thunderstorm coming in. That's why I'm not outside. I was going to be outside for this. I had big plans, but now we get underwear drawer in the dresser. So this is expireddomains.net. I guess I should mention that just for anybody that's joining us new. Expireddomains.net is a free website. You should definitely have an account there. It's free to use. They make their money when you click on the domain name through an affiliate link. So you don't have to worry, you're not paying more for anything, and they will take you to the domain auctions directly where you will need to have an account set up to be able to bid, which we're going to do. So we already have the filter set up, and I will put up the QR code to get to the filter video. Boop, right up there. You can scan that code. It will take you to a YouTube video that shows you how to set up the filters that we use on the show. I don't run through them each week. Although today, I may take some time to change up the filters. I was kind of inspired. It occurred to me, like, since I'm here, Florida, beach, travel, we can look at the filters later in the show. We'll modify the filters looking for travel, beach, and things like that, looking for domain names using keywords. So if you're not familiar with expireddomains.net, it will be a great opportunity to kind of dive in a little bit and see some features that we don't talk about on a typical weekly show. So make sure you stick around for that. But for now, those filters that you see up there on that video are what we are going to use. And now, once we get in, we order by the valuation. Let's see, right above, right there. So we order by this column. It's the valuation of a domain name. It is not the monetary value. Think of it more as a score that Google apply, or that GoDaddy applies to a domain name that just says, hey, we think this one should be on the top of the list and be considered most. The value, the fact that it has a $sign, it doesn't mean anything. It's not the value. If you use it, you're going to go broke. And you can see just real quick how that value, there's really very little correlation between the valuation and the price, other than, well, I mean, look at this, some of these down here, $50. GoDaddy, it's $9,800. It's $50, which is probably way more accurate. Okay, here we go. So I will be reaching off to the side. As I said, things are a little bit wonky. One of the things I did add that's not on the filter video is we do not look at enom domain names. Those are filtered out, which I've talked about on past shows. It shouldn't be a big deal. You just might see something that's not here. Paperbacks.com. Let's go check that out. Paperbacks.com. So paperbacks being the non-hardback books. So if you want to sell used books or something like that, or just cheap books, or maybe you just want to have a great domain name for your writing blog or something along those lines, paperbacks.com could be it. Ends in 6 days. 6 days left on the auction. $1,026 is the current bid. Since there's such a long period of time, you can expect this to go up in price significantly. So I do want to add that to my watch list, which I click on the watch list up here. So let's go check out paperbacks.com. One of the things we do here on Domain to Profit is we don't just look at a domain name and go, oh, it's worth some money. I want you to learn how and why these domain names are so valuable, how you can determine which ones are worth investing in or buying and developing. What can you put on them? Why would you build it out versus just trying to sell it, and so on. We look at each of these pieces of a domain name and we treat it like the opportunity that it is. A domain name is an opportunity for you to build something that will allow like your heart and soul to spill out in the form of a website that not just those around you get to know who you are, but potentially the entire world can find you and understand, and you can bring value to the entire world through a domain name, through a website. All starts right here on .coms. So because we're looking at .coms, the way that we do this is we grab the domain name, we drop the .com, and we go over to the other. This is Spy. I think it's 2 words. We'll find out here in a second. So it doesn't, I expected this to be much higher. You can see here, there's 28 searches for paper. Let's see if, okay, 1 word seems to be more common. So that means this is potentially a single word domain name, which it does appear that single word is the way it is. So paperbacks.com isn't a 2-word domain name. It's a single word domain name, which is why you see it going for $1,000 already. Expect for it to go probably 5 figures as of this point. So let me, so here we go. We have 320 exact match searches for the domain name. And I don't know if you can hear, but there's a thunderstorm that has finally arrived. It is, if it's distracting, let me know. It's distracting to me, but okay. So there are 320 exact match searches, and then the singular version of, or paperback, I mean, gets 9,700 searches. So there's a lot of people searching for it. Although really, I'm shocked that it's so few. Therefore, it's not as good of a name as what I had expected. one of the things that we really pay attention to is the money that you see over here. The money says the cost per click is 33 cents. There's only one advertiser, and that one advertiser is paying it. What does that mean? It means there's not much competition. Nobody's really trying to target this keyword, which means the development potential is a little on the low side for somebody like you or I, assuming you're like me and you don't really, if you're in the business of paperback books, great domain name. But if you're just some guy that develops domain names or some gal out there that's just looking for something cool to build, probably not the best choice, because this domain name is for somebody that's already in the industry, is what the data is telling us. So while somebody else is probably going to pay 4 figures or 5 figures for it, I'm going to skip over it unless it goes for really cheap. Moving on to the next domain name, and let me just check out the chat. Yep, one word is El Couch pulled that up to let us know that. Beat me to it, I'm sure. And yeah, I mean, you could, yeah, I should probably create a travel log for all the different travels and stuff. Let's see here. Softlight.com, Poker Master. I mean, that's kind of fun. Like, I could see that if you were doing a class teaching how to play poker well, you could do that. Soft light is a thing. The lighting I have on me during a show, certainly not soft. It is bright and painful, but soft light being like, you know, a nice ambient light. Greens. IT Park. I like that domain name. And you'll see that it formats it as IT Park. I'm just curious, can you hear the rain? Like, it is pouring down rain out there. I got the doors open so I can hear it and be one with nature. GoCon, Green Elephant, Simply Delicious. It's a pretty good brand. Used phone, I feel like we see that one all the time. I don't know why. Kind of odd. Punch Down. That's a popular phrase from, I've heard that in Dave Chappelle's stand-up comedy, Punch Down. Not a good word, but it could be good for blog or something like that. In fact, if we were to look at that, let's go check that out in trends. I don't like this domain name, but that doesn't mean that we should ignore it. So punchdown.com ends in 7 days, $150 currently. I'm guessing it's 2 words, I think. Punchdown, 750 searches. Punchdown, punching down. No advertisers really happening here. Kind of expect that. So what I want to do, though, is go over to a tool that we used last week, I believe, as well. And we are going to trends.google.com. Maybe punch down is, again, a single word. Let's go check SpyFu. Everything's tricking me today. It can be a single word. I expect, maybe not. I like looking at all-time data. Wow, really not really. Okay. Okay, so it does look that 2 words is the more popular. So what we just did here, let me try to, I don't know how I can get, unfortunately, well, I can scroll up. How about that? Put it above my head. Red is punch down, blue is punch down, 1 word. So what you just heard me kind of go through over the last minute is punch down 1 word or 2 words? Is it a popular term getting more popular or what? Basically, all of that is answered by the data. There are questions I'm asking myself, whether I'm online or not. So now that I'm here with you, I'm just showing you what is going through my head when I'm doing domain evaluations on my own. So you can see punch down as 2 words is way more popular, but it could be sometimes used as a single word. That doesn't really help. It honestly kind of confuses things a little bit. But what I'm a little surprised by was I expected there to be an increase just from the Dave Chappelle pop culture type stuff over the last few years, and I'm not seeing that. It's actually pretty much a downward trend domain name. Therefore, other than being happy, move on now. You can hear the rain, so that's funny, yes. A nice background noise happening for the show here. Zoom now. Gluing? Web agencies. Not a huge fan of it. Freaking thunder rolling and stuff. I love live shows. This is so much fun. Assuming the power stays on, which if it doesn't, or the internet goes out, that will be the end of the show, as you might expect. expertapp.com. So I will say, so one of the things I like to do here on Domain to Profit is I share a lot of the inside information based on what is happening with my own portfolio. I am not a fan of domains like this with app attached onto it. In fact, I own quite a few. I am a .com max person, like everything's .com. But in some of the apps, because they do not use web addresses, I am okay with .app, as weird as that is. So expert.app, because there is an extension like that, makes sense, as much sense as anything else. It's a Google extension. And I do own some of those type of domains. However, here's where my experience is coming in, and I want to share with you my experience, not my opinion. My experience is I have gotten pretty good offers from domains like this. We have flowapp.com, and some other app domains that get pretty good offers pretty frequently. So just keep in mind, there is, while Drew may not like these domains all that much, in my experience, wordapp.com gets some pretty good offers. $150 or $135 is this domain currently. And like we do with all of them, we want to go over to SpyFu and check out what's going on here. 44 searches for expert app. No advertisers, no cost per click. So really not much happening with the domain name, but it's pretty good. You can, so when we're evaluating a domain name, especially for development, when you think of a domain name, think of what does that domain name, what do you expect to find on it? Expert app. I expect expert app to be, well, it would be advertising an app versus actual content. But it would be, maybe expert app would be an app that helps you find experts in very niche fields. Like I need an expert to hook up my audio video in my house or install something, like who knows? Whatever it is, maybe that app does it. This would be their domain. You would buy it probably for the sake, if you're not building the app, to get it in the hands of somebody else. So your goal and play with this kind of domain name would be buy it for a few hundred, sell for like $2,000. You can buy, which over a few years you would probably be able to find somebody, I think, with this domain name. That's my opinion, certainly not a guarantee. So I will look, like when I bid on domains like that, that's what I'm looking to do. Get it for a few hundred, plan on selling it for just a few thousand, like up to 3K or so. 3,600 actually is one of my prices I like to sell it for. I'm working on giving some information on, like for example, how do you come up with the price you sell a domain at? Here on Domain to Profit, I really focus mostly on development of domain names, but one of the things I've been working on is how do you price your domain name for the market? And I see a lot of people do this wrong, and it's also why domain investors get such a bad rap out in the world is, they'll buy a domain name like expertapp.com, and then next thing you know, it's listed for $25,000, even though you paid a couple $100s for it. And there's reasons for that. There's reasons why people do that. The only thing is that's, in my opinion, going to be way out in left field, and I'm working on content that will help explain why I think it's out in left field and what the price kind of should be in a range of prices. So there's lots of flexibility, whether you're somebody that buys to like turn over or you want to hold them for a long time. How do you determine that price? So I'm working on that content. One of the things I like in that content so far is, think of a domain name. If you buy it for a few $100s, your goal is to sell it to some entrepreneur at the price of a laptop. So you are profiting from the fact that you know about domain names before the other person. That makes sense. You're profiting from that. So now you buy this domain name for a few $100s, and then you're selling it at a price range that's kind of like, hey, you're starting a business, you're likely going to be buying a couple $1,000 laptop, and now you got to buy a couple $1,000 domain name to get the main domain name as well. That's kind of what I'm like. So you have a domain name's worth either a laptop, a car, a house, or possibly retirement. Kind of those are the ranges. And it's a lot of times dependent on what you buy that domain name for and what your risk and so on is. So stay tuned for more of that, probably after the sabbatical, which I'll call it. I'm going to be taking a break from this stream as of episode 150 will be my last one. So, okay, back to the domain names. Let me also check. Hopefully the sound is tolerable. So if it gets too loud or whatever, let me know. I'll nix it. I'm going to remove the. Okay, that is QR code down. Online educator. I talked about online as a word last week. We used it in trends. Not a huge fan of online. It does get some pull, but it's a downward trending word. And I like to buy domain names where they're level or increasing. And online is not an increasing word, it's a decreasing word. Personal change, we can look at it. Let's see here, personal change. We'll go over to SpyFu, paste personal change in here. It's like, what is a personal change? I don't know, but it might be a thing, and if it's a thing, it might be a good domain name. 180 searches for personal change. Control F on that. That highlights the places where personal change shows up in the keywords, but there's really not much happening here. What is personal change? Managing personal change. And then money-wise, no advertisers over here. No advertisers, but there is cost per click. So somebody has paid to advertise for personal change, just not many people paying for it. So this is probably, at best case scenario, a great domain name for a blog. Personalchange.com sounds like an amazing blog, to be quite honest, where you either log what your personal changes are, the things you're trying to improve your life, as well as others maybe can share their personal changes, things that have worked for them. I love it when we all share our knowledge and help all of humanity to increase and and be better, do better. Okay. And I know I'm reaching around all the weirdness. It's nuts. It is, let's see here. It is domain to profit monsoon, in fact, yes. Okay. Yeah, you can only see houses about probably 6 or 7 houses down, and then it's just like gray from the rain. It's absolutely nuts. Hey, we have power though, so that's good. Okay, ad price, Tutor works. Like Forex, I know Forex is a thing. I don't know anything about it. Mentors sounds like I think I would prefer plural versus, singular versus plural. So it can be like one person that's really good at something teaching. Salary stream. I don't know if that's really a thing. I like the sound of it. I love the double S. What is that? The assimilation, a simile? When it sounds similar. Let's see if it's actually a thing at all. I mean, I've heard of income stream. That domain name we actually just saw a few weeks ago, incomestream.com. It sold for pretty good money, in fact. Salary stream doesn't feel the same to me, and it doesn't look the same either. So going to skip over salarystream.com. I had it to my watch list. No bids yet. If it stays under $100, I'll probably bid on it. Remote site. Drew's going to need an airlift. I'm a pretty good swimmer, but I do have my family with me, so we may need a boat. We'll see. I doubt it, though. I did notice that we walked down to the beach a little before the show because there was like a whole thing of dolphins going by, and they use paper bags at the garbage things. And I'm like, if it rains, that paper bag is going to be like toast. It's raining. That paper bag is certainly toast. Well, let me get back over to here because I see with remotesite.com, we might have even talked about this one last week. I can't remember. This ends in 6 minutes. So we got an urgent domain name here. Urgent domain heading on, adding to my watch list. In fact, let's go check this out. This one is going to get a live bid. I like this domain name, I think. Let's see what I actually am willing to bid on it. So hopefully everybody on here is friendly and not going to bid me up, because this is going to be your opportunity to screw Drew if you really wanted to. Remote site, one advertiser, no money. It's actually looking worse and worse. But I like the term remote site. I could tell you why here in a second. Let me look at the data. Not a whole lot happening, like wireless network, remote site, secure network. These are boring techie keywords. I don't like that as much. But let me just tell you, remotesite.com ends in 5 minutes, $268. I'm going to go ahead and do $588. And as of that point, I am going to leave it and forget it. But remote site, and let me tell you a little bit about this domain name. We'll check back into it here in a little bit. And remote site, one of the first domains I ever built back in college was remote computer, and it was really elaborate software that would allow you to spy on a computer and send the data out to a remote server, so you could remotely monitor a computer's activities. This was like 2000. So this was a really long time ago that we made this software. So because of that, I tend to have this like heart for the word remote. Remote site, you can think of it as remote, whether there's actually a show my daughter loves where they build houses on remote sites. So remote development and stuff. I like it more of remote site, possibly development, but I don't know. We'll see. So worth a little bit to me, but we'll see if I actually win it or whatever else. All you, Drew, everybody's like, don't worry about it, skipping over it, which I appreciate that. I'm sure somebody right now is bidding $1 underneath me just because they're like, that's what you get for sharing your bid, sucker. And that's okay, I guess. Auto word? Nah. I mean, auto word I could see being a pretty... Only thing is Word, the thing comes to mind is Microsoft Word, Auto Word, especially in this whole Chat GPT world. I could see Auto Word being something where it automatically does stuff with Word, but you can't use a trademark in your domain name. I don't know how that would work, therefore I'm going to skip over that one. But there could be something there. You just have to look into it a little bit. Unconcerned. That is me right now. Thunderstorm behind me. I'm okay with it. Unconcerned. What about a domain name, though? I'm concerned that it is pretty not a good domain. Check out allmoving.com. Allmoving.com, I think this is going to be a brand versus something you would probably want to develop. So that means if you can buy it for cheap, you probably could find a buyer for a few $1,000s. Maybe, maybe not. Allmoving, 55 exact searches. I'm actually a little surprised that there's money being spent. And part of why I share this domain name is I do know that the moving industry is one that pays a lot per click, and they are competitive and always really fighting to win more business. That's why you see 4 advertisers paying 74 cents per click on average to target whatever the heck Allmoving is. All My Son's Moving, All the Right Moves Movers. So there's some different people that use all in there. Here's a Control F, and you can see there's really no keywords happening. In fact, Allmoving Company 50. So not really a whole lot happening on it, but a tolerable domain. $49, 4 days left on the auction for that one. Car Inspired. Way back had Remote Site Technologies in 1999. Thank you for the share on that one. So 99, I'm sure, I'm 100% sure I've went to remotesite.com back when I was buying a domain name for a remote computer. But oh well. So there you go. Acclamation. Some of those domains are they're fun words and things, but can you develop it? What are you going to put on acclamation.com? That's the question. What are you going to put on it? I don't know. I want a domain name, and this is what I always am recommending. Buy domain names that paint a picture of what it's supposed to be on it. And it needs to be the .com, because otherwise that picture is going to be impossible to, it's not going to be valuable. It's going to be the reprint that's in a magazine tucked somewhere and not really worth much. It's not going to be the original. It's not going to be the masterpiece that gets the museum hanging it, putting spotlights on it, protecting it with armed guards. That requires the .com. Use jewelry. Something looks funky in that domain name. I don't know if use jewelry would be a weird. So that one could be a pretty. Let's go check it out. I don't want to miss a good domain name. Use jewelry. $20 ends in 5 days. Going over to jewelry looks spelled wrong. Is that how you spell jewelry? Okay, that's why. Yeah, look at that. Drew knows how to spell. Okay, so jewelry is typically 1L, which is what I expected. So skip over that one. That is one of those cases. That's why, even if you're thinking something might be good, do the copy and paste, check it out. Don't use your first impression. Otherwise, you'll be spending, even if you're just taking a couple $100 and tossing it at something, you do that enough, you're going to make mistakes and lose a lot of money. My staking, I like my, but not so much staking. Project system. I mean, that's kind of a nice generic domain name you can get for the sake of some generic sale in the future. Not a huge fan of it. Beauty tables. My cleaners, that one's certainly going to get a watch list. That is a brandable domain name. So thank you, Mike, by the way. The chat's like all the way, if you see the Twitter photo, it's like all the way down. Like, so I got to like touch my knees practically to touch chat. But yeah, jewelry with one L. Oh, okay. So there you go. Ian, Lee, some of my UK people, everybody across the pond. Maybe that's a good one for you to look at. And actually, let me go back to that real quick. When we use Spy Fu, right up here, you'll see we are using this as the US, for the United States. If you were to take this and drop it down into the UK, we might see completely different results. Yeah, so it's a little bit higher. So we're seeing better results in the UK. Now, here's the thing. This show 100% comes from a US-centered perspective. Why? Well, because I'm standing here in the US, and .com here is by far the top-rated domain name extension. If you want the US as an audience, .com is it. Now, the one place that I'm not an expert at for sure, well, there's a lot of places I'm not an expert, but when it comes to country code extensions and things. So in your country, other country code extensions probably make great sense. .com may not be the top domain name for you. Now, globally, .com, yes, but in your country, that probably is what matters most to you. So know your country code and do some comparisons and stuff. But in this case, you'll see the UK likes jewelry with the double L much more. I don't know which way I would want to spell it. I don't know. Okay, ooh, hey now. MyCleaners.com, does that still show up? Yes, it does. $87, ends in 5 days. MyCleaners, let me just share, this is a brandable domain name. So this one's going to be one of those domains that, what is MyCleaners? What do you see on it? It's going to be what you build. However, I like the keyword my instead of I or you. My is nice because people take possession over it. So My Cleaners would be maybe where you would go. Maybe it would be an app you would build where you provide a portal that independent dry cleaners around the world can, you can check to see the status of your dry cleaning through mycleaners.com. Or maybe you can, basically any other cleaners that are out there, it could be the portal that they use to interact with you, maybe take payments, book them, whatever else, through mycleaners.com. But if you notice what I just did there, coming up with that business idea for mycleaners.com, it is all, that could be on a bunch of other domain names. So this is a brandable. It's going to be whatever we build on it is what's on it, which that happens. Now, if it was cleaners.com, what do you expect to find on Cleaners? I expect to find cleaners. I expect to find a database where you can go and find it, maybe products and services and all that. Oh my. The addition of my is what changes what the domain name's supposed to be. That makes it a brandable because it's a blank slate where you have to build something on it versus the domain name being mineable, which I don't know if I have that image. Let me try it. Here is, let me share out. Okay, so that image there you can see is the kind of what I'm referring to. Every domain name, that gray box is ground, and you can build on any domain name and use the ground like a foundation and build up from there on U Inc. But the thing is, the domain names that we especially look for, well, let me just say My Cleaners would be on top of the building. You would build mycleaners.com Inc., and it could be whatever you build. Now, underground, though, for cleaners.com, that's authority, validation, access to an industry. There's a lot that's happening with cleaners.com that you don't get from mycleaners.com. Therefore, they're just in completely different caliber of value. Cleaners.com easily multi six-figure domain name. mycleaners.com, $87. Probably going to end up being a couple $100, but I do like it a little bit. So how do we end up doing? I saw somebody, I think, update me. Let's see, remote. So we're still moving. 3 minutes left. What do we got? We have a last minute bidder bid me up, slow and steady. We'll see if it takes the entire show. So that's the thing, is some of those, we get bots and things that will auto bid. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, I saw Jason Shepard popped in and off. So yeah, nice to have you here, Jason. 5 minutes, get back in there, Drew. Hey, I'm out. Like, if I'm out, I'm out. If I lose a domain name, it's always how I recommend you bid as well. We just did it on that domain. Just over 5 minutes left. I put in my max proxy bid. What happens, happens. I don't need to pay attention to it. If you pay attention to an auction, you're going to suddenly want to put more money into that auction. That's not necessarily the way to do it. Know what your max is, go, boom, move on. Printing card. Okay, well, let's see if we can get down through this last couple page downs. I want to homelessness. That's the wrong. That's homeliness. Shows up right at the top. No, it does not. Homeliness, not really liking it. Homelessness, probably. Smarter lighting, that seems like it could be something good. Good brand. Company trader, I'm sure there's lots of people that geek out over that kind of domain. Rank engine, sounds like a great brand or something. What's that one going for? Rankengine.com, $204, ends in 4 days. I can't imagine there's actually going to be anything in SpyFu for it, but we'll check it out. Rank Engine, 24 searches, looking through this keyword a little bit, not really much happening. It looks like it's kind of auto-correcting engine to engineering. No advertisers paying for it. Just sounds like a cool brand though, rankengine.com. In fact, I'll add it to my watch list just for this $204 already, probably not going to be something I want. Wow, these are a lot of good brandable type domain names. Fastplans.com, diabetes tip. I prefer diabetes tips. Videos download, that one looks like in a red alert. Do not bid on that domain name. Videodownload.com. Videosdownload.com will end up being videos with an S, download.com. The domain name sounds, it looks better than what it actually is. So skip over that one there. Don't fall for that middle S trick. And that is especially a warning to those who are English as a second language. That's one of those cases that middle S is going to mess you up. Okay, well, there we go. So now what I want to do is I want to spend some time, let's see here, 15 minutes left. I think my legs have a little bit of time left on them also. I want to modify the filters that we're using. I just so happen to, yes, it's rainy. Yes, it's a little stormy right now, but I'm here in Florida. That has me in a vacation, travel, beach mentality. So when your mood changes, when you have a specific topic that really is, you're focusing a lot on it, how do you go and look for domains that are expiring in those areas? Well, expireddomains.net allows you to do it, and all we have to do is go back out to our filters and modify them. So we're going to spend a little time modifying filters, and we're going to look at some travel-related domain names. I'm going to show you how to change the keyword data on expireddomains.net. All we did was we took the filters, and I said, show filters, And now we're going to go in here, modify these. We're starting with the default filter, so we're still going to be looking no numbers, no hyphens, English words, 1 to 3 words, and then .com only, ending within the next 8 days. And then, of course, we get rid of enum right there as a registrar. So now the question becomes about keywords. And we want it to probably contain like beach, beach, B-E-A-C-H, travel, spelt the U.S. way in my case, beach, travel, vacation. In fact, I'm going to take our words down, which is behind me here. I'm going to take this down to 2. So we are looking at domain keywords. Now, here's how these different things work. If you want to only look for domains that start with words, you put them in the start with. So if you want beach, vacation, beach something, but you want beach to be the first words or word, you would put it here. Contains is going to look for anything with beach, travel, or vacation. And if you hover over the I there, you'll find that you can add, it says expireddomains.net, you can enter up to 30 words separated with a space. So if you want to see a bunch of different keywords, you just put them in contains. And then if you want the word to be at the end, you can put it at the end. They will add, if you do starts with, it will require it to start with and contain versus being an or search. So we will do it in the contains. If you want to weed out a word, which we will do here in a moment, you can add it in here. So beach, travel, vacation. Any other keywords that go with travel or vacation? Anybody have anything? Don't look. Okay. We'll go with those. So I added in, here I am in Florida on a beach vacation. Beach, travel, vacation. Let's go see what domain names are expiring in these topics. Now, I will also say use singular because we're since we're using contains, all the plurals will also show up, so you can use it. And here we go. We come in, we order by the evaluation, and you'll see these domain names are all going to be 1 or 2 words containing one of the words that we put in that contains list. Islamic travel, Sage vacations. What we're going to get is a lot of these are going to be it's probably going to be mostly, what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to be brandable domain names versus really great domain name. Although vacation portraits, boom. I think we've said that 3 times on this trip right here. One of the people were, my daughter who's with me, she was like, oh, I'll take my camera, I'll get us some vacation portraits. Like, that's exactly what we're kind of looking for. What's something like, I know that there are traveling photographers and things, you can hire them and they will come and do vacation portraits. For that sake, let's go check it out. I'm in vacation mode. 3 days left, no bids, which is what we like to see. That means we're not going to bid until the last 5 minutes. Or we let it go to a buy now if no one bids, and then we can buy it afterwards. So there you go. Oh, trip, thank you for mentioning that. Clap back. I'm going to go back and show filter. I like that. We'll add in trip. So I like vacation portraits. I mean, how great is that? We would have never saw that. So let me scroll out a little bit here and just show you. Vacation portraits is valued at under $1,900. So if you can see that there. So it's valued under $1,900. Here on Domain to Profit, we stop and deep into those 100, you're going to have to search by keyword most likely, or you're going to be spending a day or more just page down. It's exhausting if you do that. So, whoa, let me get this set back up here. Beach pond, inner vacations, email trips. Friends Beach, maybe. Watch out for the middle S. Trips, sure. Garbage. Sticky Travel. Windy Beach. I mean, that's what a great brand. I guarantee there's, that probably has bids. No bids. So if you're looking for brandables, so say you're a domain investor and you're just kind of looking to fill out your portfolio with some pretty good lower domains, things that you can buy for a couple $100 or less, and hopefully be able to sell within the next 2 to 3 years for a couple $1,000. Right there, windybeach.com, people. Like, ends in 7 days. It likely will get bids, probably go out of your price range, but you know, at least you had a shot at it. At least you knew about it. And if you don't search in this way, you're going to miss out on it. Here we go. So here's one of the things I want to do, just for the sake of demonstrating something that is an important thing that you can do to really filter out domains. We added in trip, and because we added in trip, it is grabbing domains that have strip. So see that? Trip is in the middle there of strip. So what we want to do is go up Vacation Encore. So I want to go back to my filters, and I'm going to show you how you can get rid of domains like that. You want to make sure that your domain name does not contain strip. So now it can contain trip, but not strip. Now the downside of that is if the word before it is plural, you're going to miss out on it. I'm not sure necessarily what to do about that. We'll try it out. So we might be missing a couple domains that we would like to see, but if strip is a common word, you can just filter it out. So now you won't see strip. You'll only see trip. The goal is to be able to find great domain names without spending your entire life looking through them. Trip officials, locally trip, Beach eraser. That sounds like fun. Sounds like a giant rake that you can go and get rid of footprints, and that'd be the kind of nerdy thing that I would be all for. Give it a couple page downs, and then we will wrap things up here. My dog used to be Ziggy Beach. He's never been to the beach, though. Used to be. He's no longer around, but okay. Breathless Travel. That sounds like a brand. Buzz Tripper Travel Hooky. Beach Blaze. Yeah. So that's just one way that you can dive into those keywords and find whether or not a great domain name is possible. So there you go. So that those keywords and using expireddomains.net and the different filters, learning a little bit about them, such a huge, like, the amount of stuff that you get through that is easily worth paying. And I'm not paid to say that. I just love it. expireddomains.net. So with that said, let's go summarize what we did. We just found windybeach.com. Let's see, vacationportraits.com, $12, ends in 3 days. Wait till over 5 minutes left to bid on that one. Rank Engine, just kind of a brandable we looked at, $204. Allmoving.com, I don't mind that one, pretty good domain name, $49 currently, ends in 4 days. mycleaners.com, 5 days left, $87 on the auction. Let me see, salarystream.com, just another brandable, ends in 7 days before we get back on the next show, $12 currently. And let's see, Personal Change, what a great little blog. Those of you out there for personal development, just kind of logging, taking life, and I'm a pretty serious person, personalchange.com could be good for you. Expertapp.com, not a bad one, ends in 5 days, $135 currently. Punch Down, which turns out to be more of a single word versus double, $150, 7 days left. And then paperbacks.com, which was a single word as well, $1,026. Getting up that high was not really going to happen for me. 6 days left in the auction. And then finally, let's go back. Oh, there we go. I missed out. Remote site. We ended up going for $596. I was here $588. So congratulations to the buyer. I think you got it for probably cheap, but it works. So there we go. How about it, folks? Not a bad little, let's see if I can, now that we're to the last couple minutes, I'll play around, see if I can, get it to filter and show you the beach back there, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you care. I think it's fun. Oh, let me try to, okay. I'm big play, baby. It's okay. So on that note, thank you so much for joining me here on my vacation. Now I'm going to go spend the rest of the week with my family enjoying Navarre Beach, Florida. Thank you for joining me. I am back here 3 p.m. Eastern time, and I will not be on Discord much. I'll be on Twitter maybe a little bit this week. You can always message me there. And thank you, David. I'm not sure if David is with us today. I have something really cool that I'm going to share out on Twitter and share probably next stream. David has been going through 140 some weeks of domain to profit, and pretty much on his own, because he's enjoyed and is learning about domain investing, he has been making a playlist of kind of the versions or the episodes of Domain to Profit that are like the ones that have content that you should see. It's amazing what he's doing, and he has a list, a YouTube list that you can follow. So whether you're new or whether you've been watching just for a few months, a lot of the best content is mixed in with those earlier episodes. David's going around and helping to pull that together for you. So thank you, David. I look forward to giving you some promotion for doing that for sure, as well as a thank you. And it just means a lot to a creator, somebody to spend that kind of time on something I've created. So thank you for joining me. I'm Drew Wash. This is Domain to Profit, and I will see you on the flip side. See you next week. Bye.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you